To celebrate Grandpa Arnold's life. He had a pretty exhilarating life. He did a lot of things. He was always a man of adventure, and I'm happy that we all came together in this one little room to honor that and celebrate that. He touched a lot of people over the years, whether it be, someone homeless that needed a meal or a neighbor just to chat. He was always friendly and kind to the people that he did it. I found my grandparents to be quite progressive. They always welcomed anyone that was different into their home, so that's definitely where I get it from. He had amazing strength of character. He whipped up some amazing crepes, and he played a wicked game of backgammon, which I'm sure we all enjoy to this day. As we go through the celebration, if you have any memories that come up, just hold on to them, because we'll have a time of sharing after the slideshow. And anyone that wants to share, there'll be a time to do so. So before Grandma comes up and says her words, I would like everyone to turn to their neighbor and give them their best Arnold handshake.
Arnold handshake. Squeeze the hardest. Right. And then hard back and try to squeeze the hardest. Yeah, squeeze a little harder. This is how you shake a hand. Women, they don't shake hands the way you're supposed to. Burn. So yeah. It was a big day for him. Like his signature was
So it's obvious to see he touched a lot of people, because everyone knows exactly what I was talking about when I said it. Yeah, he left an impression on all of us. So, Grandma.
Grandma's time.
Grandma's time.
Yeah, I've got a little opening, a few opening remarks.
Oh, it's right in front of your mouth.
The mic. I can put it on that feels good. Okay. I was going to start off with a little Bible reading. It's just very short, but I think it incorporates how Granddad lived. And when I found it, I thought I'm going to read it. So I know all of you don't have faith, but we're going to go into Arnold's life and how he's touched every single one of you. I just wish we had touched on the campground, and we probably would have had another 20 people here, but we wouldn't have had room. Just bear with me for a few moments. I just read this short chapter. It says, when the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit upon his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered in his presence, and he will separate the people as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will place the sheep at his right hand and the goats at his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you fed me. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you visited me. And that was some water, please. Then, sorry. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the creation of the world. For I was hungry and you fed me. I did say this, didn't I? All right. Then these righteous ones will reply, Lord, when did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink, or a stranger and show you hospitality, or naked and give you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will say, I tell you the truth, when you did it to me, to one of these, the least of my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me. And I just thought that was just a lovely part of the Bible. I'll read my little my little words, and you'll see how it all ties in. And you know Arnold, you know and how he was always bringing people into the house. I always had to count how many of the supper, almost daily. But reading my journal, I saw that he did 50 to 60% of my cooking as well. And he always cleaned up, so that was pretty nice. So it was fine. We had quite an interesting household. Just a second, I'll be right with you. We got more people coming in. Who's that?
Number one, Grand.
Oh, hey, Noah, number one. Hi, Noah. Nice to see you. And Lisa, where is she? Melanie. Melanie, sorry. Melanie. Oh, there you are. Hi, Melanie.
Woo!
And Lucy and Lee are here.
Yeah.
Hi, Lee. Congratulations. Leaf just graduated last night. That's a big deal.
Wow.
And hi, Lucy. Hi. Okay, now see if my computer's gonna work. Okay. Well, Shila's already welcomed you, and I really do thank you all for coming. And some of you have, I haven't seen for over 50 years. Bruce used to work for Grandad at the gas station. That must be maybe close to 60 years ago. Where is he there? 60 years maybe. And there are others here that,
Coast Guard
and
rescue.
Sean is here, and he was our neighbor and used to come over Hesterdale, jumping over the back fence. It was lovely, it was lovely. And, yes, anyway, I thank you all for coming. Each one of you is very special. Chelsea too. We're happy. All my grandkids are here, I think. Yeah. Okay, oh, there's somebody, Carrie Bell. Carrie, hi Carrie. I haven't seen Carrie for a long time. But anyway, I better get to this, otherwise we'll be talking forever. Okay. Your spirit, Arnold, I'm talking, yeah, I was thinking about Arnold, and I started writing, and it just fell out of me. Your spirit rests in the quiet solitude of God's embrace. No more stories to tell. No more lonely souls to bring home to meet the family. You gave to them out of the abundance of your heart. And now God gives to you out of the abundance of his heart. God is love. God doesn't look at how much money we've made or what kind of status we have achieved in this life. God looks at our heart. How much have we loved? How much of our heart have we given away to help another? How much did God give for us? He gave us his son. I don't think Arnold gave a thought to how much he was touching others with his generosity, with his kindness. He cared, and so he gave. And so many lives were turned around because he followed the lead of the Holy Spirit who was at work within him, even though he didn't know it. Arnold was not a religious person. He liked me to read the Bible to him, and we did pray together, but not regularly. But the love of God was at work in our home, and in the Texaco gas station, and Troll's restaurant, and in Park Sands campground, and definitely at work in my husband. He was a good man. He was a strong father figure and a true friend. You will attest to that. Arnold loved people. He never forgot a face. That was something quite remarkable about him. 20 years could elapse between the Texaco gas station and the streets of Puerto Vallarta, but he would remember the face of that one person he had served at the gas station so long ago. He never forgot a face. Many of you are sitting here this afternoon because you are privileged to meet this man. He cared about each one of you. As the years went on, he became a sweet and gentle grandfather to our 10 grandchildren and later our 16 grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
17 now, isn't
Pardon?
it? 17 now?
I counted. I thought it was 17. I counted just a couple of days ago.
So many, she's lost count.
Okay. Our large family, and when we had 4 children, I told him this is not a large family, but I guess he wasn't finished with us yet. Oh yeah, I think some of you here might refer to Arnold as your second dad, or Uncle Arnold. I know a few of you that would say that. Yeah, Janine is one, Bruce might be one. And there's a lot of you here who call him Grandpa and Granddad. I was wondering if my grandkids could stand up. All my grandkids, just so that everybody can see my grandkids, because they're a real blessing. These are the oldest grandkids, the 10 oldest. There are 16 or 17 of the great grands that are in the chairs, the little ones. I'm very blessed to have, okay, you sit down, guys. I'm just very proud of you. And Granddad was too. There was nothing false about Arnold. He was always himself, loving, generous, playful, and kind. I haven't even touched on the storytelling aspects of this practical jokester. The one who could tell stories as easily as he could down a smoked mackerel in one sitting. I was so privileged and so honored to have shared Arnold's abundant life with him for nearly 70 years. We climbed some pretty high mountains in those years and walked some dark valleys too. But we stayed faithful to one another and trusted God to bring us through. I really hope that our life will have left a legacy to the generations that are coming after us. All around us we see families breaking up today when things get rough, but the difficult times are the times in which we grow the most. If we are faithful to one another, God will stay faithful to us. I often hear about how our lives and our home made a difference to you. But what I want you to take away from this time of remembering is that your lives have made a difference to us. We were expecting Uncle John to come, but he just couldn't make it. I was going to talk about Uncle John, but you all know Uncle John, don't you? Or most of you.
Holy ball.
Holy Ball at Christmas, that's right, every Christmas, Holy Ball. I used to deliver bread to Arnold when they were kids. He was the baker down the road, and he was the kid. He was the kid.
And he called us.
Yeah. Anyway, they grew up, and John followed Arnold out here 3-4 years after Arnold, and he's been our friend ever since, but he couldn't make it this time. Yeah, please. Because of who Arnold was, our home became the local drop-in center. Never have I regretted a moment of it. Because of Arnold, we had a never-ending supply of canned salmon, and homemade bread was the norm, as was homemade soup every night of the week. A beautiful brick fireplace stands as a monument to a hitchhiker from Germany who Arnold brought home for dinner one night. And he decided to stay a few months and build that fireplace. And another time we had a gentleman from Japan that stayed over, and before he left he gave me a beautiful strand of real pearls from Japan. When we decided to manage the campground in Parksville, I can't tell you how many meals were prepared for us. Sometimes wrapped in brown paper, sometimes left in the fridge with a note, sometimes wrapped in foil paper, piping hot with a bottle of wine. And the reason they did that is because we were too busy to cook for ourselves in the campground. We worked 16 hours a day for 5 months straight. And so the campers were bringing us meals all the time. I often thought that maybe God was rewarding us for the hundreds of meals we had prepared for others over the years. And where was Arnold at 11 or 12 o'clock midnight? Pedaling around on his bicycle just to make sure the 500 campers who were visiting were safe and sound. My husband was a treasure to us and to everyone who met him. Even in the last few weeks of his life, he would sit across the dinner table from Beverly, a resident in my care home, and tease her by throwing a kiss in her direction. So now we say goodbye to a life well lived. I think God is saying, well done, my good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of the Lord. Let us know. And the rest of you can just listen or clap. It's very short, it's a little chorus. And it's, we shall enter into his courts with thanksgiving in our hearts. We will enter his courts with praise.
Oh, I wanted to hear.
Oh, you want it on the screen?
Well, no, I didn't know you were doing the song.
Oh, that's okay.
No.
Okay, Debbie knows that, do you know that, Erin? No, you don't? Okay, do
Girl like that, but yeah, I don't know, maybe Indian, is it?
Indu? You know it. We shall enter his courts with praise, you know it?
Yes, I know.
We don't, how many, put your hand up if you know that little chorus, otherwise we'll just miss it. Okay, Beverly, there's a few, okay. We shall enter his courts with thanksgiving in our hearts. We shall enter his courts with praise. We will say this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice for he has made us glad. He has made us glad. He has made us glad. We will rejoice for he has made us glad. He has made us glad. He has made me glad. We will rejoice for he has made me glad. I just thought that was a nice. I really believe God's in heaven. I mean, Arnold's in heaven. And he's entered his courts with praise. He had a life well lived.
Deb?
Thank you for being patient and listening.
Good job, Mel.
Thank you.
The music that goes
So
with
now we're
it.
gonna do a slideshow,
The music.
some great pictures of Arnold's
yeah, we're
life in
gonna
here. And while we're going
Dale-
through this,
Dale's
if you
gonna
can just think of any memories or great times that you had with him that you wanna share later, this might prompt something for you. Okay, yep, it's right here. Mom?
Debbie. Oh, great. That was my dad. Can we put a pause on some of them? Can we put it, can we leave them on a little bit longer?
I can't change it now. Just enjoy it.
We can play it again. We can have it
Yeah, we
going
can do
out.
Okay, let's be. You want to start it again?
Let's turn it
I
again.
can do it
You can
after
just-
again.
Yes, Bruce?
There's my shot.
That's
It's Shia.
I know, you pop up quite a bit. It's fun going through the old pictures.
Great
Great
shot.
shot. Oh my goodness.
Celeste.
Oh, that's my wedding to Josh that day.
I remember that, yeah.
It was really hot.
Oh, it was so
Oh,
hot.
that was Jack when he was
Yeah, and
little.
look, there's
Logan.
Logan. Bread, bacon bread.
bread scones.
I love that
He
kitchen.
taught me how to cook a lot of things.
Yeah, he's a good cook. Charlotte popped up quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I
cute.
spent well. Caleb.
It's Caleb.
Caleb.
Mini golf. Caleb.
Caleb.
Yeah, yeah.
Amy, Nicole.
Oh, good. Oh, that's Yana's name, that's, the
Cherry tree. I used to sit in that tree a lot. I love that house. He was a good gardener too.
Oh, I remember that couch. The
Yeah.
table.
Oh, that's a nice.
Oh my.
That's Gracia.
That's me.
I know what it looks like Gracia.
Oh.
Sean's. Adri.
40 years.
40 years married.
Aw.
Yeah, neighbors did that for us.
That's cute.
Where was that?
Jack,
Aww.
and me. That's me too.
Oh my.
I love it. That's awesome.
Hey, Michelle, the ladies called, they wanted their haircut.
He didn't go anywhere.
No, it's back in. I
Can't brush
I had
it.
curls like you and Tyler. I didn't know. I
Wow.
didn't let it
That
dry.
was the family picture.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You gotta get a curl. It's a bit to get used to.
Look at that one, wow.
Nice.
I love that back there. Nice Nicole.
He was the one without the hat.
That's your favorite picture, Michelle? Debbie? One of them.
Remember when he sucked that mussel out of the shell at the beach?
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. I remember.
Oh, you got some good pictures there.
This is Ted and Shirley's.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you love that chair. Is that the one from the living room? Yeah. Yeah. That one? Yeah.
You have that chair down there.
That was Seal Bay.
That was his 85th.
Lovely. Oh, beautiful. So sweet.
Oh, I put it in twice by mistake.
Oh, this is funny.
A wreath.
Bill, can you cut the music down because it's a video on?
Yeah.
Let me just put this back a bit. I just want to turn up the, this thing. 'cause
It only goes half.
On your marks, get set, go.
Debbie, you're in the way, Deb.
Whoa, stop!
He goes, oh, I don't like Debbie, you're right in.
That was scary.
He says you're a lot like me.
I don't like this wiggling
Know about that. I never saw that one.
What? Now it's gonna look on the view again. And the chair.
Too scared to talk.
You bet. Hey, food.
Very ridiculous.
Yeah, look at him.
And that's what we got?
He pooed blue.
There's lots of wild blueberries up here right now.
Look at
Uh-huh. He just sits there, just like a tame bird. You get even closer?
Have some pate, little bird. Hey, why not feed him some pate?
So Dad, you're going to Hornby Island today. Where do you think you're going?
Coffee to Tim Hortons.
We're going to pick up fish at Tim Hortons.
We kidnapped him because he'd been looking after my mom.
You're just kidding. He said he didn't bring his wallet.
I said, I'm sure.
So Dad, what's going to happen with the fish that Fred had for you? Yeah?
He was still at home when I phoned him earlier.
Did you tell Mom yet that you've been kidnapped?
No.
No, she's still sleeping. She
So
said,
10
don't,
o'clock.
it was perfect. She said, don't wake me up. I'm gonna be sleeping. Don't wake me up in the morning. So we just yeah, we sleep. She was
Oh no.
like, sleep till noon. We could be back before she's up and around.
Where did you go? Where did you go?
I just wanted to tell everyone, this is, my dad had been looking after my mom after she became paralyzed, and it was like, I think it was like 10 years later or something. And he, so we didn't think he would voluntarily get away. So Janine and I kidnapped him. We told him that he was just going, Janine said, you're just going for I'm gonna pick you up to go for coffee. So we took him to Hornby Island for the day. And we had a wonderful day on the island, and that's just the context.
Please, no, I wasn't busy. The one has to come down.
I know, because he was supposed to work on his mask all this week, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to tell a bit of a white lie.
Yeah, that's what I said to Debbie. I said, how am I gonna tell your dad that, that we're taking off like this? And I'm gonna have to
Mom said to me, last night, she said, Jimmy is picking you up at 9 o'clock.
And I usually don't do that, so I thought you might get suspicious.
No, I thought that'd be nice for the change.
And being that I was there yesterday, I thought, it's not usual that I come 2 days in a row, right?
But you told me you weren't working today, so that's the reason why I
Doesn't
did.
sound like it, does it?
Yeah.
I want to show you guys show Mom these flowers too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right up there, right
Yeah.
in the million bells.
Aren't they lovely? And then all the way down there,
Daisy ones look good too.
and I can zoom right in.
Are you
All the way,
taking a
yeah.
movie?
We brought shorts for him.
Dad, are you sure that there's not any way that you can phone Mom? Yeah?
All the way from London to Hornby.
Yeah. Even prayed about it looked like.
I did.
So we just found out that everything's gonna be okay, Mom's okay, and she said, she said, have a good time. And so are you feeling okay now, Dad? You feel better? Are you gonna relax? You were gonna enjoy the rest of your
I
day?
feel bad, but I feel better.
Okay, okay.
Was that our dog? Because we had a black standard poodle.
No, I think they're just out.
Busy today, of course, it is a long weekend. Yeah, look at this beach, eh? Isn't that incredible? Oh, looking all there, and then there's a sailboat over there.
Oh, yeah, this is a nice protected beach, eh? I don't think we did say, I think it was Ski Island.
Look at that, eh? Isn't that gorgeous? All the way down here. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the tide was this low when I was here before. This is really nice. Okay, the queen.
What?
That's nice, Janine.
Yeah, good memories.
So I just want to ask Janine and Dad, so what was your favorite, tell me what your favorite part of the trip today was?
Poplar's Beach.
The Halifax Beach? The nuts at the top of the speech.
From Port Alberta.
Oh yeah, where is he? Is he here? Or did he make it? He must have made it on the last ferry.
On the ferry
And
head,
even before we got his phone number.
but he didn't get my number, he didn't have. I was willing to give him my email address, but he didn't. Which one? I don't know, but those guys, those running guys at the restaurant were kind of cute.
Indeed.
What's your favorite part of it? Oh, maybe I have to stop. What was it? Dad, what's your favorite part of the trip today?
Walking on the beach,
Uh-huh.
talking to you guys.
Yeah, relaxing. What about you, Janine?
The sandy beach at Tribute Bay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, isn't that awesome? It's such a beautiful spot. And going for a swim was wonderful. Well, yeah, yeah. It was really neat.
I love that.
Yeah.
It wasn't raining, like last time I was here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and joining that too.
Oh, she did make it.
Oh, and then they put the chicken in the oven? Yeah, okay. I said you need to come over to them to have something to eat. Okay? Half hour maybe? Okay? Yeah, go ahead and eat. Okay? Bye-bye. Yeah.
I think he groaned about it, but he actually enjoyed it. He would take me to the mall, and we would go shopping. And in every store that we walked into, he would introduce me on his arm as his girlfriend. Because he was so happy to be walking through the mall with his young, pretty girlfriend. And
He called me his.
I'm embarrassed because it's grandpa, but he enjoyed it. I was a teenager.
Traumatized. I was his second wife. He used to call me his second wife.
He used to introduce me to as his wife.
Yeah.
I think he wanted people to think he was younger than he was. And I used to do touche and say, come on, this is my grandfather.
Can I share a story? Go ahead.
Absolutely.
I have to actually share this story because it originated on the messenger page from Rosalind. Does anybody remember reading that one in Rosalind where we stole the X from the Texaco? Yes, but that. Are you Jen? What I am. You're Jen. But that was a lie what Rosalind put in.
Oh.
It's much better than that.
Oh, okay, okay.
Much better. So we had friends, and some of you may know them, George Bordell and Dave Baxter, and they were both flaggers. So they went, well, they did it often, but one time they went out of their way, and they flagged Horseshoe Bay from one mountain to the railroad track. And then we all go into Trolls, and everybody thinks the Queen's coming in on the ferry. That's why all these flags are up, right? So Roz and I were a little choked that they were getting so much attention. So we kind of schemed it together what we might do. So I said, one night we need to go to the Texaco station, sorry, Arnold, to Texaco station and take the X off and change Texaco to read Kotex. So anyway, when I got, divvy to climb the ladder, so I climbed the ladder, I went to go get the X, and the little thing where the screw goes in, it broke off, so the X just fell into my hand. I'm like, now how do I put that up? So anyway, I'm climbing down the ladder, and Roz is like, Jen, the cops are coming. Oh, okay. Down, up goes the X, and off we go. And so at that time, there was no reception for the police down in the bay. And if they wanted to get a hold of their dispatch or whatever, they had to go up by Glen Eagle School and contact them there. So they always came down in Horseshoe Bay to police to a car. So anyway, they're looking for us. They don't know who we are. They just know two girls, has an X under the arm, and we're looking for them. So anyway, Ross and got it was big, yeah. So anyway, went and hid behind a bush, behind a building and between a bush and the building, and Rosin got caught. So they put her in the back of the car, but that's okay, because I had the act. So anyway, they put her in the car, and one police officer is sitting in the car and talking to somebody out his window, and this other police officer sees me, and I'm squatting down behind a bush. And he's going, "You get out." And I went, "Excuse me, but I'm going to the bathroom." And he goes, "Oh, sorry," and he turned his head. So I actually got away and went around to the other side of the car, opened up the door. So we got up and we ran home. And we lived right behind the Tesco station. So anyway, the next morning, we could hear the police around there asking if they'd seen girls with the Texaco hats. Anyway, and because we can hear them on our window. It wasn't a very good building, it was pretty soundproof, it wasn't soundproof. So anyway, the next morning we get up and I go down to see Arnold, and I'm not too sure, were you there too when you were down there? And I said, we have to make a confession. We stole the ex. He showed it to me, he goes, "You didn't even know it was wrong." Well, the police are gonna come and they're gonna tell you that 2 girls stole the ex. They don't know who it was, but it was us. And he says, "That's okay, don't worry about it. Gets on the phone, calls Texaco. They come out, bring a new ex, put it up there. The police come and going, 'We have 2 girls that stole your ex from the Texaco sign.' And he goes, 'What? We don't have, nobody stole our ex.'" That's what happened. Ross is like, "Her? Yeah, that's a good story, isn't it? That's such a, Ross was so boring. So I told her that I would fix it. Yeah. And then the other thing, Joey Vince wants me to give you a kiss on the cheek, and I will. And he didn't make it because he's flying to Hungary to visit his dad. His dad's 98, and his dad wants to see him before he's gone. So him and his daughter are flying back, so they couldn't make it there. But he wanted me to tell a story about Arnold and his what Arnold did his jokes, he pranks people, right? So one time Joey was there, he had his Harley, and he had it hidden behind the gas station. They did one, Joey Dan?
Oh, Joey, yeah.
Yeah, he hid it behind the gas station because he didn't want Arnold to be upset at being in his parking lot. So, and then Joey walked across the street, went to Trolls to get something to eat or drink or something. And when he came back, his motorcycle is on the sidewalk. And there's police there, they're calling for a tow truck, and they're giving it a ticket. And Joey's going, "What the?" And Arnold is standing there killing himself laughing, because he's the one that put it on the sidewalk, and the police came in. But anyway, Joey says, "Don't take it. He did it. He's just a prankster." He was.
Yeah. Joey, is it, can you hear me? I haven't seen him since I was a teenager, but my sister talked to him, and I didn't know that he was, my dad assigned him to be my guardian. Apparently, he was my guardian, and I think it was because he felt that Joey was a threat, really, and I, we might get in trouble together, so he actually assigned him to be my guardian.
Was that at graduation?
Well, I wasn't graduated yet, he might have been, he was a few years older than I was.
Yeah, I think Arnold asked him to watch the girls.
Yeah.
When you guys went to grad.
Oh, okay.
Joey was telling me that.
Yeah. So, I just wrote this, God's life. He was a lion of a man in his time, who stood against injustice and had an unusually kind heart for the poor, the lonely, and those disenfranchised. Many who ended up being invited into our family when they had none. Everyone who came in were made to feel like family, and in actuality did become our family. He couldn't stand for anyone to feel excluded. For years, I never knew that the aunts and uncles I had were not actually blood relatives. The group site we put together is getting many comments on what my dad and mom did for them, and of course the pranks dad played. He was pretty mischievous and loved to have a good laugh. There was never a dull moment. And then that's the story that you were just told. I was going to tell the wrong version of it. So
we can share that, make it compare.
Okay. help it. No one was going to get away with anything that was to do with that story. Of course, he wasn't an angel, but the good my dad was, he lived to the fullest. He was an authentic person, and you always knew where you stood with him because he would tell you. He never pretended to be someone he wasn't. He often helped people get their lives together, giving them a job, and if needed, a place to stay at our house, of course. I don't think my mom ever was consulted about all the people he brought home. He wasn't trying to earn points or be a good person. He genuinely cared about folks, and especially if they were going through a rough patch. He just wanted to make sure that people felt included and belonged, and that the door was always open. Our door was actually never locked. He would bend over backwards for those out on their luck. But he would be tough too, especially if he thought they needed it. There were things he had no tolerance for, like cutting the cheese the wrong way, or wearing too much makeup.
Serious stuff. That's good advice.
And not making him a cup of tea if he came to visit you. But he also had a very soft side, and sometimes I'd see a tear roll down his cheek when listening to a sad story on the news. To empathize with those he was with and accepted people wherever they were at. Most who knew him just liked to hang out with him because he was so comfortable to be with. He didn't have hobbies.
He didn't need hobbies, he had a big family.
But maybe people were his hobby.
Yeah.
He really did enjoy people more than anything else in his life, and he was all about connecting and being generous wherever he could. I remember a fellow who couldn't pay his bill at the gas station. I think he was traveling through Horseshoe Bay, as many were. Dad said he could live with us, but he still didn't get his keys back until he paid the bill. I seem to remember him taking the distributor cap off of certain people's cars until they paid up. Is that right, Grace? Do you remember that? Right? Yeah, he was big on that. This is who he was. There was always that strong sense of justice mixed with kindness, an unusual combination. I think all four of us kids can name friends who ended up living at that busy house on Fox and Nelson in Horseshoe Bay. Once, when I went away for the summer, I came back to find my bedroom was occupied. Yeah. He and my mom definitely get a 10 out of 10 for hospitality as well as generosity. Of course, nothing is ever perfect, and there were those who took advantage. But he never held grudges, and he was always quick to forgive. Maybe because he was so well aware of his own shortcomings and his own need for forgiveness. He never forgot a person's face, and when traveling would often run into people he knew, sometimes from years before. He was a friend to many and very much loved because he enriched so many lives. A couple of memories I have. We moved, Carl and I and the kids moved to Toronto, and we were phoning home to check on things back in Parksville. They were living in Parksville at the time. And there was a fellow that used to visit the house, and my dad was sure that he was flirting with my mom. His name was Roger. But he was always hanging out, and one day, Roger was over, and my mom was always making these apple pies, and he would overdo his praise of the apple pie. You know, that's the best apple pie anyone has ever made. I think you make the best apple pies. It used to drive my dad nuts. So one day, I just phoned home, so I'm on the phone, I'm in Toronto, and he's on the other end of the kitchen. The apple pie is served, Roger's about to eat it, and my dad can't stop laughing. He's laced the apple pie with mustard, Dijon mustard. He's filled it with Dijon mustard, and he knows that Roger is going to praise my mom for the best apple pie ever, no matter what it tastes like. And he's just waiting for him to take that first bite. And he's snickering in the kitchen. And so he's saying, just wait. He's just gonna have, he's just gonna have it. Here it comes. He told her it was the best album. There was, as far as justice, he hated injustice, and there was a hitchhiker, a girl he picked up once, and the girl tried to extort money from him. She said she would call rape. She would actually go in and say that he had raped her if she didn't give him all her money, if he didn't give her all her money. I'm sorry, I'm getting this mixed up.
We get it.
You get it, right? Anyway, I don't think she knew who she was dealing with. He promptly retorted, "I think I can help you out with that," and drove her straight to the police station. Called her inside and told the police, apparently this girl has something she wants to tell you. So, yeah. His daughters, and had a unique sixth sense to find us wherever we were. I once went to a party in Kitsilano, which was far from Horseshoe Bay, and all he knew was that I was at a party in Kitsilano, and he actually found. Do you remember that? I don't know how he found me at that party. And then years later, I came to visit from Toronto, and Michelle, of course, she's 13 years younger than me, and she was with her boyfriend in, is it Fairwinds subdivision?
Yeah.
So he says, do you want to come with me? I'm gonna go find Michelle. And I said, where is she? Oh, she's in Fairwinds with Rick. And I don't like that Rick. I don't want her being with him. And so I jumped in and I said, well, you're not gonna find her. There's like, I don't know, 300 houses there or something. Oh yeah, I'm gonna find her. And so we pulled in, and if you know Fairwind subdivision, you can turn right, left, all over the place. I mean, I didn't know where we were going, and finally he pulls up, after going through the subdivision, he pulls up and he sees a guy cutting his lawn. So he pulls up to ask him if he knows a fellow by the name of Rick, and he says, that's my son. He says, well, my daughter is apparently dating him, and she's got to come home. So he had an amazing sense of, just intuitive sense. This fellow, Joey, who wanted to give me a kiss, when Janine and I one day were camping in the front yard in a little pup tent. My dad was a bit, I guess, nervous about us being out there, and Joey wandered over. He lived across the street, and down a couple he wandered over, and he was talking to us. I would have been maybe 16, and he was talking to us, and my dad just saunters out onto the deck. He's got a shotgun. Hey Joey, nice night, eh? How you doing? Just talking to my daughter, eh? Yeah. Have a nice night. Yeah. A couple of years ago, when he was already quite infirm, he said, he always called me Debs. Debs, if you were still being threatened today, I would still try to protect you. And he could hardly walk at that point, so it was just amazing. Just another little anecdote. I don't know if I get this right, because memories change over time, but there were a bunch of, I thought they were Hell's Angels that came and filled their tanks up with gas, but didn't pay for it, and went across the street. I'm looking at Bruce because he was the manager. He was my dad's manager. He fired me, by the way, once for he fired me for having a water fight. And it wouldn't have been bad, the water fight, because I was working at the gas station at the time, but someone broke the tap, and the whole parking lot got filled with water. My dad wasn't working at the time, he was at home, I think. When he got home, he said, I said, Dad, I got fired. And he said, well, I bet you deserved it. But anyway, these Hell's Angels, I believe they were Hell's Angels. There must have been about 40 of them or 50 of them or something. They all came, they filled up their tanks with gas, and then they just
Before prepay.
They just walked across the street. They walked with their bikes, and they just parked there like, no one's gonna touch us. Well, my dad, he was over at Trolls, so he didn't know what had happened. That's right, he was over at Trolls. And when he came back and found out they hadn't paid, he walked into the middle of that crowd and said, pay up, now get over there and pay. And they did. They did.
He was fearless like that.
He was fearless like that.
Impounding vehicles and taking their wires and making them started. Yeah.
But I bet you those help
Yeah. Yeah.
had respect on the spot for the guy that would show up in the middle of the mall and say, you owe me.
Yeah, he had,
Like,
yeah,
wow.
I guess so.
That's what
Yeah.
happened.
And there was this other thing when they had the campground. So this is my last one, but when they had the campground, there was some kids that were stealing booze out of people's coolers. And so he thought, this is enough, because it had happened for a few nights in a row. A camper for hours, like into the middle of the night. And he just waited and waited and waited, and then this guy comes along, and there he goes, he goes into the cooler, and he's just about to grab the liquor. My dad grabs him by the back, hauls him into the office, and these days he'd probably end up in jail, but yeah, anyway, he phoned the police, and it was all dealt with, so. Yeah, amazing.
And then the fence went up.
That's just a few little stories, but too much to say, too many stories to say, but yeah, just feeling lost, yeah. So,
Thank you, Debbie.
oh, I'm sure some of you have some remember.
Oh, I will. I'll take all the ones that I shouldn't talk about, and I won't talk about. He was the most remarkable individual. I mean, I came to work for him when I was 19 years old. I was maybe 20. And his first job, this is how he sorted people out. He said, I'll give you a try for 8 hours. Start sweeping the parking lot. And it was a huge parking lot. It's the size of this grass field up here. And he would sit and watch you sweep. And if you took a break or were wandering around looking at the sky or smoking a cigarette, at the end of 8 hours, thanks very much, goodbye. After, I'm stupid, I'm just sweeping, right? I don't smoke, which incidentally was not allowed in his presence. He didn't like smoking. Remember his standard line was always, there's too much oxygen. You can't smoke at a gas station, it's too dangerous, there's too much oxygen. But if you swept for 8 hours, you got a job. And I worked for him, I thought he was the most remarkable guy, because one day I came to work, and there were 2 cars parked in the back, and there were 2 guys sleeping in the cars. So I'm banging on the car at 9 o'clock in the morning. Come on, get out of here. Come on, move away, move away. They're saying, no, the owner let us. So I go around to the office and say, all right, there's 2 people sleeping in the car back. He goes, oh yeah, no, they came in last night, they missed the ferry, and they don't have any gas, and they don't have any money. So I said they could sleep in their cars for as long as they like in the parking lot. And they, how long did they stay there for, Robin? They must have been there for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Mike Hay. They worked for their rent, for their spot around the gas station. And he was, oh yeah, they're down and they're lucky, they deserve a break. And when Janet was talking about this, George and Denny, they came down to the gas station one night, they got Arnold in a little bit of trouble. They decided they would, at the time we had, Texco had glasses and silverware they gave away. So they came into the gas station, this guy named Andy Dawes working there. They took all of a bunch of glasses, filled them up with gas, and took them out into the park. Put one underneath the igloo. There was a concrete igloo in the child's park. They put another one in the middle of the parking lot at Bay Boats, and another one over by the ferry terminal. Then they came back, they got black garbage bags, filled them with oxyacetylene, brought them over, put them over top of the glasses, and put a little trail of gas in them, and lit the trail. So the first one they put underneath the igloo, and of course it goes off with like an atomic bomb. Bounces the thing up, there's a huge explosion.
Oh, that's what happened to that.
Everybody's like, Arnie's standing at the gas dot laughing because he's watching all around, right? They run from the igloo over to the one in the middle of the parking lot. The first police car arrives. The first police car arrives, he's looking at the igloo, suddenly there's an explosion in the middle of the igloo's parking lot, which for some reason the police officer thought was out in the water. So he came running down to Bay Boats, down to Jim McKee's, and ran out on the dock, just as they lit off the last one over by the ferry jump. It went off with such an explosion, they had the biggest bag of oxyacetylene there, and it blew up. They thought the whole ferry was going to collapse. The police officers running back up the dock missed his step, he fell in the water. No. So the next, I'm totally oblivious to this. Arnold's completely oblivious to this. We're sitting there at 8 o'clock the next morning, getting ready to start our work day, and the police arrive. And they want to talk to Arnold. And Arnold's going, what's this all about? He says, well, we picked up the glasses that this stuff was in, and they're Texaco glasses. And the gasoline, we're pretty sure came from this gas station. The oxyacetylene definitely came from this gas station. And we're pretty sure your garbage bags also supplied this. And Arnold's going, totally, not saying a word, not saying a word. And they said, you know, what do you have to say about this? And he said, I wasn't here, it wasn't us, it wasn't me. And I thought it was really interesting because the police officer, Arnold's just brewing inside because he knows all this stuff's going. Right? The oxyacetylene, after the cops left, he ran out to check the gauges to see how much was missed. But he was so concerned because the police officer said to him, Arnold, you know it's you or one of your employees. The only thing we're pissed off about is the fact that I fell in the water. Arnold, we went for coffee. I said, is that, you know, like, what are we going to do about this? He goes, well, nothing, just kids having fun.
Yeah.
Kids having fun.
Just kids having fun.
Yes.
And another story, he was so proud of the fact that he could hunt you down wherever you He caught you at Vince's, he caught you down the street on Bay Street. He was so proud of the fact that he would look at his watch and say, I gotta go find Debbie. I don't know if he ever didn't manage it.
My mom would warn me. She'd phone ahead and say, you want to hide, your dad's on his way to find you.
I think a lot of people that wanted to work for Dad had to tell on what happened to Debbie and where she was. Job
and you guys all know I was a really good kid.
Debbie, in fairness now, we went for coffee every day for 10 years. We're going for coffee one morning and he's kind of shaking his head and he says, I don't know what's become of him. I said, what are you talking about? Of him. He said, I don't know what's become of him. I said, what's bothering you? He says, well, you know, I'm pretty protective of Debbie and I'm always checking out where she is. And I said, yeah. He says, you know that nice boy Carl? And I said, yeah. He's living with us now. And I said, you wanted her to be a virgin until she's like 50. I know, but I just have to bend to the times. He says, I don't know what's become of me. I don't have to go look for them anymore. They're downstairs. You talk about going to the Hell's Angels. And for some reason, I don't know why we did. We impounded cars and we towed them over to the Texas Street. And then he went through the figure tax. So we're working one Sunday. I don't know why he was down there on Sunday, but he was there. And a bunch of the people who owned the cars came in on the ferry. It turned out they were wrestlers, professional wrestling troupe. Neil Jonathan, all these towering big giants. And we towed their cars. So they come into the gas station, ranting and raving they're going to kill somebody. And I'm thinking, oh my God, look at the size of these guys. And Arnold was working with a cutting torch, working on an exhaust system. and they came in, they wanted to speak to the owner. Arnold's going right around and says, hold the torch on, so it's flaming away, and says, what? This where you told our cars, you pay in there. And went right back to his room. I'm sitting there, standing behind him, thinking, oh my God, what's gonna happen here? He was absolutely fearless.
Fearless of dogs too.
Pardon me?
Fearless of dogs.
Yeah.
We went to go collect money from people that owed, a police officer that owed him money.
Yeah.
Well, now I know why he wasn't home very often, he's having too much fun at the garage.
Well, he was hardworking, my goodness. I remember talk about him hiding, looking for people stealing alcohol. He would have me maybe twice a week. We'd have to go up to the ocean view, Ocean Bay.
The little
And
mountain
with
there.
binoculars
Yeah.
and watch them going.
Yeah, yeah. He would catch them in the mornings,
He was,
stealing gas.
If you
Yeah.
asked him for anything, he'd give it to you. But if he thought you were gonna steal it from him, he was unhappy. What a great father. That was 10 years, the best years of my life.
Aw. Thank you.
What? Too much to say.
I'll say something quickly.
All right, Chelsea.
So, I'll always remember Brenda's bluntness. And I think it's
Chelsea. What about you?
So normally my hair is dark, and this story is really into my weird hair right now. So when I was a teenager, I dyed my hair blonde for the first time, and he just said, I don't like it. It was natural. Okay, thanks. Love you too. So I think it's quite ironic that I've accidentally dyed it green a couple days ago. So I think he's laughing at me right now.
He would
saying,
have
I
so
don't like
much
it.
to say, right?
It's much better natural. That was
Aw. Thanks, Chelsea.
We are very new into this family, but we are very close friends with Carl and Debbie, very fast, very quickly, but we care, we love, and we are so happy to be here. And we thank you, both of you, for inviting us. But in spite of all our close relationship, I did get to meet Arnold. I went with Debbie to where he lived. I got to spend time singing and playing with him. I'm very thankful for that.
Thank you.
All right, what time is it? Yeah.
So, Arnold's been my father for years. Excuse me. I loved him. He always treated me with respect. But he also, in the beginning, kept a good eye on me. And we would have parties. And he'd come and try to find me. We'd say, he's not here. We'd say, well, those are her shoes over there. To that in the end. And he would always actually join in. He would maybe have a beer or something, and he'd still take Debbie home, but he still, but he treated me well.
There's still time if anyone else wants to say a few words.
So, Auntie Val and Uncle Arnold always allowed me to come visit every summer. They were always kind enough to pick me up from the ferry I would walk on, and they were just always welcoming to me and always spent time with me and would make a point of doing activities and stuff. Uncle Arnold taught me how to play backgammon, which I still play to this day because of him. I don't like clam chowder, it's all his fault, because he would make us go dig up clams, make a big giant pot, only for us, when that was done, go dig more clams, make another big giant pot. So not a big fan anymore of that, but to this day, him and my dad would always argue who was the oldest one. I never ever got a straight answer from either one of them. They're twins. So it was a matter of minutes, and nobody would ever tell me the truth. They were always, he's the older. I never knew. they would never tell me. So that was something, you know. And when they were young, my dad would often tell me stories of him and my uncle growing up, such as why their mother would get upset with them anytime she would wash their hair. Apparently, my dad and my uncle and their brothers, they would play with the cement sacks that were being used to build the bunkers and stuff, and they would whack each other with them. So their mother could never figure out why their hair was always so stiff. It was because of the concrete in there. So even at a very, very young age, these two were always the most mischievous individuals one could ever know. Yeah. Yeah.
12, Forrest was young. I remember asking Grandma, can I borrow $500? It's short. I just need, I can't remember what it was for. My grandma says, oh, she gives me $500. And she said, don't worry about paying it back. I said, no, I'll pay it back. She goes, don't worry about it. 15 minutes later, my granddad calls and says, you know, your grandma wants to give all you guys money. She doesn't care about money. She just wants to give it all away. I need that money back. So don't worry, I get paid next Friday, I'll send you a check. He goes, oh, okay, great. Wednesday rolls around, he's like, you have my money? I'll pay on Friday, I'll send you a check. He goes, okay, great. So Saturday, he calls and says, Aaron, have you sent the check? So, yeah, I put it in the mail yesterday. He's like, oh man, that's too bad. So, why? He said, well, I was gonna say that you didn't have to pay me back. You don't have to cash it. Well, it's already in the mail. A couple years ago, he's sitting in the condo and he declined quite a bit at this point. You know, he said there wasn't, you know, it wasn't always right there. Geez, I said, I told him a really, you know, tried to tell him a joke. He just kind of sat there, so then I just told him a really dirty joke, and he just smiled, kind of, you know. And then I remember something was going on with his phone, and he tried calling somebody, and my phone would ring. He was, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like I didn't, you know, I wasn't trying to call you. So I don't know, because it happened on your phone as well. And then you tried it, and it still got me. So then he called me again. I said, Brandon, maybe you just really wanted to talk to me. No.
Arnold Brugge. And the rest of the Brugges. I was very blessed as a young man and a neighbor who lived just over the fence, who would constantly, daily jump over the fence and just walk in the door. It got to the point where I was that welcome, and I never got any crap for it. And it was probably the best timing that could have happened, because I was a rather unhappy, screwing up in school, just I wasn't having a very good life. So it got really, really easy to feel accepted and supported just by virtue of being welcome somewhere. And that's what it was for me, and that has carried me forward to almost 60 now. And being able to look back with nothing but affection and respect for the entire Brugge clan that lived in that house. And the fact that, well, I was an only kid, not that that's a bad thing, but I did manage to be lucky enough to have a second family. And they are still my second family. We haven't seen each other for a long time. But I love each and every one of you, and you know that, and you know that, and I know you know that. And I'm just thankful that the patriarch of the family was one of my favorite human beings, because I used to beg him, ping pong, let's go play ping pong. Oh, not right now, Sean, I'm too tired, I got too much to do. No, please, let's go play ping pong. Come on, man, come on. All right, one game I would get, right? And that's usually all I got was one game, but they were always great games, and he was a blast to play with, and he was just, he was one of my favorite people, and I'm gonna miss him terribly, so. But I'm glad the rest of you guys are still around and we've reconnected, so.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you.
I don't know if you know that Caleb is a wonderful, probably a world-class surfer. Where is he? Who's Caleb? I can't see him.
I would say world class. Some ways yes, other ways.
He loves surfing. He lives for surfing. And that had to start somewhere. And way back when he was about 12 maybe or 10, he had a choice of going to summer camp or coming to Grandma and Granda's house. He chose to come to us, and there was a garage sale just a block away, and they had an old skateboard that they were selling. I remember paying $5 for it, and I feel that was, Brandon was of course involved with that, and I just feel that was a starting off point for a big chunk of Caleb's healthy, wonderful lifestyle. I often think about that old beat up skateboard and you skating around the cul-de-sac. And yeah, it was a good memory.
That was amazing coming to the island and getting to spend a whole summer with
You
my
chose that,
grandparents.
you had the whole summer with us, yeah.
Yeah, it was always
Summers are
so
better.
amazing to be in Parksville, in that zone, with my grandparents, and you know, it just felt so.
We were all one, weren't we? We were all one together.
And I got the benefit from that as well. I love you.
Who am I talking to?
Dave.
Dave.
Hi.
Oh, goodness! Oh, you get really handsy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You were my second grandparents, and I really appreciate you. All the kind
We all grew up
hospitality. No, he's not here.
Yeah.
So when Dale was recently, within the last 10 years, working at my house, contractor and helping me renovate extensively my house, down to the bones and back up, Grandpa would often come by for lunch and enjoy a beer and sandwich and have a BS with us, and we loved it, and it was wonderful to have him. And I didn't get to have my own grandparents for a lot of my adult life. He was my grandpa.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, thank you.
King size bed, and I remember over and over again, you have to get kids to stay over. I mean, it was just an automatic, right? And there were always kids around. So I remember in the morning, they'd all climb in with there's 2 or 3 of them around the floor, and they'd all climb in my king size bed. They were little tights, right? And I love that king size bed because they could all crawl in together.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. Now it's time for some mingling and some refreshments. There's food back there and over here, and space to roam outside. So help yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good.
Well, no, I flowers. So that's like my specialty. So
Yeah, they closed that. I guess there's no.
Oh yeah, he was trying to embarrass me, and then to get it back, I went into his underwear drawer and I was looking at you guys, right? And I got them wet and put them in the deep freeze. Like he didn't even notice until 5 days later. Like,